Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it is.
What's up,
It is Monday. Thank you guys for waiting. You guys are so wonderful. We were saying no fear, no fear. We are here, and so are you. Oh my gosh, what's going
happening?
on? We got like, are you
going
really
on
sitting on these hearts, or is that like a mistake or something? What's going on? What's going on? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But you know the live feed ended anyway. But if you just now tuning in, you're tuning into Hidden Treasures with Ayanna and Morris, the eclectic Christian perspective. Yes, guess what time it is? It is time for our show and for you. You know, as we say, you are not only our guest, you are the third host. We got a lot to talk about today, and we want to hear your perspective. It is the second Monday. I know I'm always clocking the time, guys. I know. It's the second Monday in August because I've been trying to really take advantage of time,
That's
you know.
good.
So the month, we're halfway through the month of August. I want to cry, but that means the kids are going to school soon, but not that soon. And it means that summer's over, almost over. But so take advantage of it as much as you can.
I feel like that was doomed.
I know. I'm so sorry. You see where my heart is, right? I'm still in vacation mode. But you're here. You're live. Hit us up on Facebook Live. Let us know how you're feeling. If you're watching us on In the Mixer Radio, we say hey to you too. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, we love you just as well. Thank you for following us. What do I have to say? How are you, brethren?
I'm great. We're just so you all know, I like to tell you what's going on. We are trying to just work out some technical difficulties with our live feed. We want to make sure that you're actually able to see us and hear us, and we don't want to dive into conversations that you can't even hear. So I think that we might be up and running now. I think we're up and running, so we're excited about that. That always makes us. I see you popping up. I see you. The numbers are going up, so we're glad to be able to have you on. Glad that's all worked out, and glad to be back with you. We were off last week. This one over here was off for real. She was vacationing,
baby,
and I had to take care of some things unexpectedly. Yes. But we are back, and we're always glad to be with you. Let somebody know that we are on now. I am sharing it. I'm asking that you share it as well. Let somebody know that you are watching live with Hidden Treasures. We have a fantastic show that is lined up for you. If you did not see our post about what the show topic is, I am going to give you a teaser. The topic for tonight is When Love Hurts. It's a lot. When love hurts. Interestingly enough, I sent you the topic. Immediately after that, I saw somebody post the exact same thing.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, wait, I think we might be on to something. So phone a friend, let them know that we are on, let them know that they can watch us live, and we're looking forward to your comments as well. How you doing, though? How was your vacation?
I'm feeling good. Vacation was wonderful. You guys know how I feel. When I come back singing, you know what that means.
That means she's extremely well rested,
yes.
And I am catching up to her very quickly. So,
yes.
So that's that. So we have a lot that's going on in our world.
A lot
that's going on.
Craziness.
And we're going to. Our clip is tied into what has happened in Charlottesville, but you know, we want this. It's just a real quick snippet of something that, quite honestly, I saw live, and this one little clip is not even going to do it justice. But I wanted to really kind of talk about what happened in this clip. So we're going to go to that clip now, and then we'll come back with our perspective.
Well, my point of disagreement is that was an excuse to bring these groups together. The local blogger who got the permit to protest the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue then blew this up. That was an excuse. Look at even how they got the permit. And can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. Under no circumstances do you get to speak to me in that matter. You should exhibit some decorum.
Ken, stay civil with her. Hold on, guys. Both of you stop for a second. Simone, Ken and Simone, hold on a second. You need a reset. You need a reset. Ken, You don't want to use language like that when you're talking to Simone. You can disagree, but you don't talk like that on this show. You know better than that.
I keep getting interrupted.
I know, but Ken, we don't tell people to shut up on this show. I know, but Ken, you can stand up for yourself and still be civil. That's not how you are.
When they keep interrupting you.
You let me do your job. I'll give you both chances. No, but Simone, I apologize for that. We don't talk to people like that on this show. And Ken, I know you don't talk to people like that. And I know you don't mean to insult somebody like that on this show. Would you like to say that for yourself?
Of course not, but I can't just be walked over for over and over and over.
So I watched that live this morning, getting ready to go to work. I was walking out of the house watching this interview happen, obviously on Charlottesville, and this moment happens. Now, I don't even know where to begin because there's two points that I want to make. One is that it was absolutely ridiculous. It was kind of like surreal, I guess is the word, to hear on a live broadcast. These are professional people, and all of a sudden, you know, he just explodes, loses it. His terminology, besides the shut up, the them and the they was kind of like who exactly. I don't want to reach, but who are you exactly referring to when you say them and they? All of it was kind of laden with this, I guess, overt, at this point, racial undertone to it. But now I will give the flip side. This clip did not show everything. I actually, prior to all of this, was saying to myself as well that she was doing a lot of talking over top of him. She was slightly combative as he was trying to make his statements and make his points. So I could see frustration settling in. I want to paint a fair picture. I could see frustration settling in. But to get to the point where you explode in that way, for me, it felt like that was more than just this moment. That was beyond, I can't get my point across. There was something more that was kind of lurking underneath that. And I just think that we've got to deal with this stuff. We got to deal with the truth.
I mean, my concern is more and more when going back, you can take this back maybe 17 years ago, 20 years ago, when the tough conversations were happening. People were in the midst of tough conversations with the mindset to, I'm going to have this tough conversation. It's going to make me feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to get something out of this because I don't mind being uncomfortable for the better. Now these tough conversations are happening, and my concern is the overall reaction. There's a very immature, very tantrum-like reaction that is happening that has been reflective of what has been allowed to explode in our atmosphere even during the course of the elections.
I was going to say
and
that
I
too.
felt like since that time it has been really raveling out of control, and so it's like we can't even have the tough conversations without all professionalism being thrown out the window, and everyone's just having a simple tantrum, and you're blurting out any type of frustration you have and on whomever you're connecting it to. And so that's my biggest concern, because then there's no longer any productive conversation.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and I think when the example is set from the top, it makes it hard to refute any of these things that are happening, because I think we all kind of naturally know that this is like, that's out of line. But when the head is consistently out of line,
right,
it makes it difficult to check anybody else, because the head remains unchecked. And so for me, it was an example of how far off the path we have gotten now that anything can be said at any point in time without regard for people's feelings or, you know, professionalism or any of that.
It's as if we are happily raising the banner of ignorance in so many areas. So please don't, if people made us think that it was just in an isolated area, it was just in the hood, it was just here, it was just in the music. It is across the board, and it's always been there. And I won't say it's for the masses, but there's for a large majority of people. It's not everyone, but it's been there for a large majority of people, and now it's so prevalent. It's like, where's the productivity in anything at this point? I'm concerned, because when you have that level of ignorance pervading in a manner such that opens the door for all kinds of foolishness, that opens the door for the riots, that opens the doors for so many other things And it's concerning.
And it spills over into our regular lives, right?
Yeah.
And so it spills over with teachers and students. It spills over with, all types of professionals, right? That we begin to just get out of line with one another because that's what's perpetuated. And so I think that there's a very a saying that's very common that says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I believe that we really are at that place, that if you don't take a stand against some of the injustices that you see, they will continue to perpetuate. Not only will they perpetuate, but they will grow from what we see right now into something greater than what we see. And so
we are backpedaling.
We are backpedaling.
It is. Oh God. We
are. So not only is it time to pray, but it's also time to act as well. So that's a whole nother show, though. So that is what's happening now. We y'all are silent on Facebook, and I get it. I think that this is one of those situations, and I'm talking about the whole, right. I'm talking about the whole thing.
It's a tough topic.
Yeah,
because it's real to us.
Yeah,
we are in this thing for real now, and what and I know I don't want to belabel our what's happening now, but what our parents and maybe a couple generations before dealt with is now coming back around, and we're feeling it, and it doesn't feel good. So it's like, what do I say now?
Yeah.
How do I respond to this now?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's happening now. At any point in time, you can hit us up and let us know what your thoughts are. Von Franklin, totally agree. Like he said, this was a tough weekend, and that is the truth. My concern is that it's going from tough weekends to tough months to tough years, and really it's like, when is it going to end and how is it going to end? And so I think these dialogues are necessary just to, again, get us to talk in a healthy, constructive manner about what is happening, because it's easy to be reactionary and to be explosive, and that's not necessarily the change agent either, but it's in dialogues, it's in planning, it's in strategy that we begin to see some type of movement. So what will you do?
Ouch.
What will you do? That is the question. What will you do? I mean, I just threw that out there, but maybe you want to answer. What is our level of responsibility? This is not our topic tonight, but what is our level of responsibility in all this? Do we just continue to complain, or is there something that we can do in order to begin to exact change?
So that's our What's Happening Now segment. We love to give you a little bit of current events, let you guys know what's going on. Watch it later. Open up that conversation with your groups and whoever else, but we're going to take you into what's happening in the community. I want to stress, if there's something that you want announced, I had so many people saying, look, we have these great events coming up, we want you to announce it. You have to send it to us. Send it to hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com. hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com, and we would love to announce what is happening, what is going on in the community. But let's take you to a few flyers here, let you know what's happening. Up on your screen, you will see it is open to all. Yes, it's time to pray. Abundant Love Apostolic Church is hosting an all-night prayer. All are welcome. This is uninterrupted prayer, praise, and worship. That's this Friday evening, starting at midnight and ending at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. That's at 128 Winthrop Avenue, New Rochelle, New York. All are welcome. You do not have to be a member. Go in. Feel free to pray and to get your prayer on. We need time for us to pray for our leaders and to pray for our government. It is time. So that's one thing that is happening this weekend. On to the next, and maybe even the last for our show or the community happening so far. It's, guess what, Jonah. Yes, Abundant Love Church also presents the trip to Jonah. That's the Sight and Sound Theater production. It is going to be great, and there's still time, October 14th. You can call for more information, 718-313-6051. Get out and see some real interactive theater. I heard it is phenomenal. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to be there. I hope you might be there. And I thought about what happened this past week, and we've been announcing for the community happenings, the Marriage Enrichment Retreat.
It was postponed. I was like, where's she going with this?
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I was so excited. I was like, I want to know about the Marriage Enrichment Retreat. What happened? And it just came to me. All right, it was postponed because some of you guys still want to get in on it. So we're going to keep you posted. We're going to keep you posted. But if you want your event announced, hey, you got to give it to us in time, okay? So if you have an event announced, remember we come on Monday. So if your event is this weekend, we should have been announcing it today. So make sure you send us your events at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance so we can really get a chance to promote what's going on. Again, send it to hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com.
That's it. So listen, we're getting ready for this conversation. Our topic tonight is when love hurts, and we're gonna
say that again because I need my people to tell their people to tell their people.
Yeah.
Call in 914-969-6499. Make comments on Facebook Live. Get on now. When love hurts.
In fact, this is what I want you all to do. So we're going to our music video of the week now. But again, the topic is when love hurts. I want you to put just drop a line about what you think this show is going to be about tonight while the music video is going on. When love hurts. We're going to our music video. Drop a line.
Your name, I praise, your name, are Alpha and Omega. You are Alpha and Omega. You're the beginning and the end. You're the beginning and the end. You're the same yesterday, today, and forever. You're the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I praise your name. I praise your name. Hallelujah. Holy, holy. You are worthy.
So listen,
hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Ah, yes.
Hallelujah.
Nothing like a high praise. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, so we yeah, sorry, I'm looking at some comments that you guys got up.
Please be patient with us. Facebook is playing.
Facebook is playing with us tonight, but it's okay. We still gonna have our conversation tonight.
Yes.
So our topic tonight, let me know if you can hear me. I feel like something went down or something. But the topic for tonight is when love hurts. Our topic tonight is when love hurts, and I asked you to put up some comments about what you thought our topic was for tonight, and only one brave soul said something out of the 20 of you who are on right now. But someone said it was dying to self. Interesting, very interesting perspective. I can see where you're coming from with that one. But our topic tonight, when love hurts, we probably will take this from several angles tonight. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we shout out some people that are on live? I mean, you may need to do it because I can't see them all. But, you know, we want to shout out our Hidden Treasures community. Some of y'all we see. If we don't announce you, please don't charge it to our heart. We see Jamel, Roberta. We see Save T. We see Jennifer in the house. We see Von Franklin. I feel like Romper Room. We see.
I see.
Okay.
Sanzi and EJ and Nay Bailey and
Harold,
Latoya Wright
Renika.
and Harold and Renika and Kat James and Cheryl Barnes and LaShawn Ewell and Yolanda Cozart, and there's a lot of you. Lene Peterson, there's a lot of you. So
you
I
guys
don't know
are
why
there.
you just
We
did
do.
that.
I'm sorry. We want to shout you out to let you know we are seeing you. We
do
may be a
see
little
you.
delayed.
Love y'all too.
We see you. We want to hear you. Now, again, some people's fingers don't type as quick as others. So anytime during the course of the show, if you want your comments to be made known, come on, call us. We want to hear you. You could be anonymous if you like. 914-969-6499. When love hurts. Where are we going with this? What direction you said we're taking it from?
So I do I guess by trade I do a lot of counseling, and one of the things that unfortunately continues to be repeated is this idea of being in different types of relationships, whether it's marital or dating or friendships even, or even sometimes church relationships or just different types of relationships. Something that I continue to hear repeatedly is this idea that what I am in is hurting me. What I am in is, and some people would go as far as to say what I am in is killing me. But I love them so much, or I love it so much, that I have to remain in it. And I think that's what we want to talk about tonight. That's where we're going to start, actually. We're going to start at this idea of loving until it hurts, that you can remain in situations that are not fruitful, that are not beneficial to you, that are in some instances abusive to you, and we still label it as love. And love is the reason why we remain in it.
So here's this crazy thing. You threw out this word abusive.
Yeah.
And the reason why I shy away from that word is because a lot that is abusive has been wrapped a different way.
Okay.
So that people don't even see it as abusive.
Yeah.
So now, right, being loyal, right?
Yeah.
Says I'm gonna stick with you through thick and thin.
Yeah.
I'm loyal.
Ride or die.
Ride or die, right? So, all right, you hurt me, you cheat on me. All right, this thing is suffocating me. All right, I'm not getting arrested, I'm being burnt out. All right, but I'm a ride or die.
Yeah.
I'm loyal. So the things that have
we glorify it.
We glorify
Yeah.
these dysfunctional things. We glorify these abusive things. And it's crazy because we say, you know, love is supposed to be what edifies, what builds up, and all these other great things. But we are defining love differently. So we're not even understanding what's being said because our definition of love is different.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out.
Well, I think I think you're right at the right spot, because I think that's what we need to start off with, is what really is love, and what is it that is shaping our idea, our understanding of what love is, because I think the answer to that is what allows you to see what you will tolerate, what you will put up with, what you will bend on, what you will compromise on. I think that the answer to that actually shapes everything else that comes after it.
You know what's actually good someone said, and I'm actually,
Well,
Candy said, well, if loving you was wrong,
loving you was wrong.
I don't want to be right,
Yeah.
right? But I like it because for me, that put it in a time context, which means that there has been a mindset of a theory that, you know what, if it seems wrong to others, but
Yeah.
it feels good to me, I don't even want to be right.
Yikes.
But I'm saying, and
But what if it doesn't even feel good to you either?
Right. I'm
Yeah.
hearing today that even if it doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
even if we know it's not right, and even if we know, look, this is crushing what I don't even have a glimpse of yet, I'm still gonna be loyal to it. I'm still gonna be and that's what I'm saying. And you guys, if you got, this is the eclectic Christian perspective. So if you have a different view, please share it. But I'm afraid that we're not working from the same definition. We're not working from the same dictionary.
Yeah, and not to I was gonna say be cliche, but it's not cliche. It's the word, right? So, literally, God is love, right? Like
Yes.
that is just like that is the definition of love, right? If we get to the whole 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, which I think we kind of have we've made that real pretty entitled
For
nice
every
little,
wedding.
it's for every wedding, like you say it, but like it's really actually pretty heavy.
Yes.
Pretty heavy stuff, right? Love is patient, love is kind, right? It does not envy, right? It's not boastful, doesn't seek our own, right? Like love never fails, right? Like love keeps no record of wrong. All of these things that the Bible kind of tells us what love actually is. I think that what we've been calling love is more closer to some level of infatuation. In some instances, our love can turn into some degree of false worship. Because it's like no matter what it is that is thrown back at me, I'm willing to kind of bow down to this thing, even if it's killing me, even if it's hurting me, even if it's destroying me. And I think that there's something that's very and this is not a judgment because I think we've all kind of had a twisted version of love at some point in time, but I think that there's something that's really warped about that thought process, is that when we allow ourselves to be victimized, or when we allow ourselves to be abused or trapped in situations that are stifling us or stunting our growth, I think that there's something really dangerous about us being loyal to the place of abandoning all real understanding of what love really is. I think that's dangerous.
Listen to this though. The further we get away from God, the further we get away from the
Candy
real
got all kinds of songs.
understanding.
It's a thin line, yeah.
The further we get away from the real understanding of what love is.
Yeah.
Right? So then when you move further and further away from what love is, because yes, love is patient, love is kind, love is enduring. Love is a lot of things that takes work and effort, but it's never negative. It's never draining.
Right.
It is an investment, but it's not a drainage
Yeah.
of who you are. But the further we get away from God, the further we get away from the real understanding of what love is. And so therefore, it was very easy for us to get twisted with all forms of perverse love, with all forms of misunderstood love, of abusive love, of stifling love. And I'm talking about not just relationships. It could
Which
be
all of that is like really oxymoronic, right? Like it's really not love at all.
Right,
We
right.
don't know what else to call it, but
Right.
like abusive love doesn't exist. It's
Right.
not love at all. Yeah.
right. But technically, those are the labels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's really what we're dealing with. And we almost have to hear both, because if we just call it love alone, we're not saying, oh, it's an abusive love, or it's a perverse love, or it's a twisted love, or
Yeah.
it's, whatever it
Yeah,
is that we're
yeah.
dealing with. We don't want to say that, no, it's just love. We've been through so much together. I
Yeah,
hate
yeah,
that
yeah,
term.
yeah, yeah.
We've been through so much together, especially you hear from young people,
Right.
or whatever. And it's like, but you've been in and out of court, in and out of jail,
Yeah.
in and out the hospital, in and out of this. It could be the love of not just a relationship. It could be the love of a job that you've made. You said it being false gods. That love being that idol, so much so that you have no more energy for yourself, your family, or anything else.
Yeah.
That love being an idol that you can't even see clearly what the situation is, or what this person is, and for who they really are.
Yeah.
And it could be anything.
And I think sometimes it's also just I think we love the idea of it sometimes, right? And so it hasn't even worked out to what we thought it was going to be, but we hold on to the image of it, right? So like we holding on to the idea that one day, like I'm afraid afraid to let go of this because what if I don't get what's better, or what if I gave up just too soon, right? But I think the danger in all of that is that you're chipping away at love for self at the same time, right? So the more you allow yourself to be victimized, the more you allow yourself to be abused, the more you allow yourself to deal with some things that are beneath what it is that God has for you, eventually it starts to chip away at the truth of who you are, right? You can't be in that environment for long without it affecting, what do I think about me? How does this affect my self-esteem? How does it affect how I think about my view of other people, right? How does it begin to chip away at me? You begin to lose pieces of who you are when you begin to chase something that's false. And what I'm seeing is that people are losing themselves in this quest for a love that's not really love at all.
You know what's crazy? I mean, shout out to Gary, Mignon, some of the people that are just joining us. James, Vanetta, Dabe, Shamika,
Deborah,
a lot
Press.
of people. We are seeing you guys. Our topic is
Pastor Hans, I see you.
Pastor Hans, when Minister Paul Morris, when love hurts. That's our topic tonight. And we're even talking about one is how are we even defining love? Has our definition of love become so twisted that we don't even really understand or know what love is? Aisha, we see you. Ernest, we see you. When love hurts. And my question is, if we're really looking at love in the sense of God is love.
Yeah.
Love in its purest form. Is it ever going to hurt? Love in its purest form.
So I'm like resisting because I'm like, well, is this the point where I make the right turn? Because I have a right turn to make, and I think that's like a spot you're making me make this right turn right now. So I'm gonna go with it, right? So in theory, no. Love, even in its purest form, does not hurt. However, I think if you're looking through the wrong lens, even the right kind of love can hurt with the wrong lens. So love actually corrects, right? Love chastises. Love will tell you some things that are hard to hear sometimes. And if you are listening with the wrong ears, that will feel hurtful to you, even though really that is the purest form of love.
Right. And so,
yeah.
Right. It would feel hurtful.
Feel hurtful to you.
It's meant to make you uncomfortable, to make you change for the better, but it would feel hurtful if you're looking at it from a different lens.
Yeah.
When love hurts.
Yeah.
You know, some of the people that are on Facebook Live, I would really love to hear some examples of how you think when love hurts. What does that look like? What does that feel like? And give us examples. If it's your job, Daweed, we see you. Mia, we see you. Other people are saying, look, true, love isn't supposed to hurt. Someone said straight out, love isn't supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
And agreed. You know, it does edify. It does build up. It does build up. So Candy says, so if that's it, then what love got to do with it? Candy, I can't take you. I can't. Candy is giving us all the love songs all throughout tonight's show.
Yeah.
But Jamel goes, well, that's not really hurt. That's discipline.
But doesn't discipline hurt?
It feels uncomfortable.
Doesn't it hurt?
Depending on what lens we look at it, it sure can.
Okay, but let's think about it from a natural standpoint, right? Like if your parent spanks you, right, for doing the wrong thing, that joint hurts. Like we don't have to dance around it. I don't care what eyes you got, what lens you have. A spanking hurts you every now and again, right? But in that instance, there is love behind the beating,
right?
And it is for your good ultimately, and so you have to push past with the hurt that you feel in order to receive the love. So there are two sides to this coin.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's just talk about this parent. I'm just using that as one example. When a parent disciplines,
yes,
right, and it's coming from a point that you want better for your child, but then on the other end does not console, does not say, you know what, you did wrong, I did chastise you, but I love you, I did it because I love you,
right,
and does not reinforce the love. I'm not saying pacify, but I'm saying reinforce. They do not reinforce the love. Then the love that's supposed to be constructive can be ultimately hurtful.
Now we grew up together, right?
Yeah. He got a lot of beatings.
Yeah, right. Now my parents would say all of that
after the fact,
but I didn't feel
right.
Like you could say you can save that whole speech you just gave. You can save that because that joint hurt. and it does not feel like love to me. And so I'm saying that to say, like, we're half joking about it, but I'm saying that to say that there are times where love is being displayed, but because it's not in the package that we want it to be, that we'll label it as something that it is not, when really someone really is genuinely caring about us or loving us enough to chastise us, to correct us, to not allow us to continue to go astray, and that is love. And if we're looking through the wrong lens, we can reject something that actually is love and replace it for something that is not.
Right. Here we have a couple people saying a lot of things. True discipline
a lot of stuff going on
is
here,
born out of true love, and it hurts. Someone says, look, I literally just wrote a poem about love before tuning into this show.
Oh, wow.
Someone else said, you know what? Love worketh no ill, does not cause harm. So Ernest, I want to push there, Ernest.
Push there,
we want to hear you a little bit more. We want to hear a little bit more. Love worketh no ill, right? So in essence, no matter how you take it, the love didn't work ill. Your perspective worked it. Maybe. Okay. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I got to hear more about that one.
That's just me interpreting your words. Melinda, we see you. What say you? The topic is when love hurts. And we're talking about how you see it, how you define it. You know what? Oh, well, Angel is spitting some bars here. Can I share?
Go ahead, go for it.
So one of our, I know,
because I ain't gonna try to read it.
one of our viewers here. So we're talking about when love hurts, and we're talking about, do we even have a definition of love? Do we even understand love? Do we have a real sense of what love is? Are we packaging it a different way? If love is the way it is, does it hurt? Or will it depend on how we perceive it? Is that hurt? I'm going to just give you a brief couple lines that one of our viewers put in there. Y'all can read the rest of it. It says, so many people claim to love, but lack the ability to show it. That's why I'm happy to be a poet, so I can put it in words that you may know it. When you love, you care, and you want to be there. You express your concerns, your desires, your yearns. You hate to see even a single tear drop from their eyes, and you feel guilty when you tell them little lies. I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna let you guys keep reading it. I just dropped it a little bit. Let y'all keep reading it.
That was good.
What do you have to say to that? You said like you thought about something.
Yeah, I did actually. So it was that one line, right? That but I guess it's true. I guess it's. I'm thinking about it. So, but it was the
when you love, you care.
No, not that. Something about a tear. You hate to even see a single tear drop from their eyes, and I guess that's true. I think what I was thinking about is the fact that I think that love confronts. I'm big on that, and so sometimes the tear is necessary, right? And if I had to speak to a spot that provoked that type of emotion in order to get you to the next place, to whatever is better for you, I'm willing to do that, because that's what love does. Like, love helps to elevate you from what you are in into the place that you ought to be.
Gary says, true love does not hurt, but the sin or error in our life makes it feel harsh. Love is the correction that comes after, and the gentle manner that it is given.
Gary.
He always does this. Gary, I love it.
Gary, I love it too.
Push.
That was good, right until the only thing that I'm like, is that gentle manner part, right? There's a time for everything. I mean, Jesus himself was not always gentle.
Lion or lamb, right?
Right, lion or lamb, like straight up, like love allowed him to braid a whip and run those people out of the church, right? Like that was love. Like love, like he braid that whip. He braided that whip in love and was like, y'all have turned my house into a den of thieves.
Yes.
And that was love, right? Love did that, right? So so sometimes I think that, again, I just think that we sometimes border on only embracing love when it feels good to us, and rejecting levels of correction. But again, we also have dealt with the first part of it, which is we're not talking about abuse. We're not talking about being abusive.
Right.
And so I think there's just this crazy balance between the two. Gary put LOL, but it was correction. That's right.
You know what I'm thinking? Like I'm being a little tripped out. So when we first talked about a topic and we talked about when love
all
hurts,
over the place with it, yeah.
And it made you think about the negative, how we're perceiving it, it being abusive, et cetera, et cetera. And we've kind of taken that right turn that you wanted to take when love is perceived, when true love is perceived to be hurtful, but it's really necessary. It's really correction. And I keep getting back to, can we think of some of the stuff that we're in now, and can we define it as real love? Like, if you think about some of your relationships, if you think about the things that you hold dear, your gifts, your talents, is it just something you have and you use, or do you truly have a love for it? The job that you're pouring blood, sweat, and tears, is this something you really love, or it's become your idol? And so it's now a lust or a thirst for power or something else. The relationship that you're in, if you've lost yourself in it, is that truly love? You know, we take on a lot of things, and we do a lot of things, and we say we do it out of love, but everything is not done out of love.
That's the truth.
There's a lot of things that's done to say, for me to put the banner on my chest and say, look, well, I did this, I took care of you, I did this, and there was no love in it. It's because I want to hold over your head that I did this. That's not love.
Right.
But I package it in a form to say that it might be love.
Von Franklin said, folks have an antiquated view of love. Phrases like love don't hurt and so forth. God's corrections hurt, or when we are doing wrong. We are so caught up on feeling that we like the loving, right? And I agree with him, right? So this is I know the point that I think that he was making is that sometimes that it is true. Love does not, I don't care which way we package it, even the love of God doesn't always feel like love. It doesn't always feel like love, because there are some situations that God will permit that will eventually work out for our good. In the moment, I can't fully see that it's going to work out for my good, and if I'm not careful, I will reject the situation, I will reject the circumstance, and might reject God because it doesn't feel the way that I thought that it should have felt, which is why we can't be deceived by our emotions, we can't be deceived by our feelings, but we've got to know what true love is in order to define what it is that we are experiencing.
You know, Melinda made a good point. She said making a sacrifice normally hurts. And one thing I like about that specific statement is that love is about sacrifice.
Sure is.
When you really love your children, you sacrifice. When you
enough.
love your spouse or another individual presently in your space, that's a sacrifice.
Which
all
means
of that.
Sacrifice means you give up something.
You're giving up something that you don't want to give up.
Absolutely.
Right? So sacrifice does hurt.
That was a good point. Something that you don't want to give up, because it's not a sacrifice if you didn't want to give it up.
Right.
If you just willingly, like,
right.
It's no
You
big
can
deal
take
to me.
it,
That's not a sacrifice.
right?
Yeah.
It's just like someone trying to borrow your stuff, and you're like, I don't really care about that. Yeah, you can borrow that.
That's not a sacrifice. Right.
But if it's my favorite thing, okay, I'm loaning this to you, but you know, this is a real sacrifice. And in that sense, if love is sacrificing, then in that sense, it hurts in the sense that it's uncomfortable. It's not easy for us to give up because we're giving up part of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's one of the greatest things about the love of our God.
Yeah.
Is that He sacrificed. And if that's anything that we see that love is sacrifice, and love is not easy, and love bears a lot for the love of another, but it's not. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
So then, can we say? Is it safe to say that where there is no sacrifice, there is no love?
Yes.
I agree. Full circle. I think we're right back to the beginning. I think that's the issue that I think I'm seeing consistently. Yes, Melinda, what was that yes to? Because that was a strong yes. I want to see what that was. But I think that's the catch, is that I think that we are seeing relationships of different kinds, as I said earlier, where there is no level of sacrifice, and we're holding on to it, calling it love. We're holding on to it because for the sake of love, but there is no bending at all in that. And I think that is something to be watched, that is something to be wary of, because if you do not see any level of sacrifice, then you are not seeing love, you're not experiencing love, and again, it will chip away at you eventually.
They're saying yes to the idea of if there's no sacrifice.
No sacrifice, yeah.
Is there love? There's a lot of yeses there.
Yeah.
With that. And you know, I think the one time that when it really dawned on me that someone I was in a relationship with, and it's not my husband, somebody that I was in a relationship with.
Glory to God.
Glory. Really didn't love me. Like, one, didn't know how to love, and didn't love me is when I saw the unbending nature.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, after all this, you still don't bend?
Yeah.
After all of this, you still don't sacrifice? That's when it was in my face. It's like, wow, you really don't love me.
Yeah.
And they would not say that.
Yeah.
They would say, what are you
Well, in
talking
their
about?
mind, they probably did.
In
love.
their
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
right? But real love, right? And that's the difference between, I think, real love and mind love. Mind love says, just like Gary was talking about, love doesn't boast. Well, the mind love boasts.
Yeah.
Because you want to, big up yourself, control the next person. Mind love says, well, I don't really have to bend. Come on, I'm here with you. Come on, relax.
Yeah.
Mind love says, let me control the situation because, it's just what's best.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mind love of what you understand it to be.
Right.
But true love, according to how God created, that is innately in us when you're healthy and whole and complete and not dysfunctional and not torn up, but it's
That's
innately
good.
in us.
That's good.
You find yourself loving in a way that you never loved before. I've heard parents and say that I've never loved like this before.
Yeah.
When I had this child,
It's
was
almost
a whole
instinctive. Yeah.
Right. There's a whole nother level of love that came that it's that tapping into that God love in us that makes us realize, okay, I'll sacrifice.
Yeah,
I'll correct.
I saw this morning, if you were watching our earlier part of our show, it ties all in together. But I saw a part of the interview on Charlottesville. Not Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Charlottesville, right?
Yeah.
So there was a one of the friend of the young lady Megan, who was actually killed, the person who died in tragically. She was standing in the way of the car that came plowing by, and in that split second, her fiance was standing next to her. He grabbed her, he threw her across the street, and he was hit. And his leg broke as a result of that. And she was saying this morning on the news, she said, he's my fiance, I love him. She said, he always told me that he would protect me and take care of me. She said, but the fact that when you don't have time to think.
Right, and you just act.
But you instinctively sacrificed yourself for me. She said, I now know that he loves me beyond anything in this world. And I think that is to the point that we are making, that love, again, it's instinctive. It's something that I am willing to sacrifice everything in order to give to someone else. I think that's when we begin to see what real love looks like.
Gary said something, and I want other people on Facebook Live and those who watch on YouTube later to also comment this. Gary said, I always say be careful when you say I love. It is at that point that the tests and trials will come. Do you agree? Gary, I'm gonna press your point a little bit. I want to hear what other people have to say. Do you agree that at the point when you really say I love, that's when the tests and trials will come? What you got to say about that? What you?
I don't know. I get the point. I think life happens to everybody. I think that if you are in any relationship long enough, just a time of proving will just present itself. I don't know that it's necessarily triggered by this confession of love, but I just think that also, let me say it this way. I think to add to the point, this is why I believe that love. Who was that was making all them songs earlier? Candy. So here's another song for you. There's a song called "Love Takes Time," right? And I think that's really truthful. I think part of the reason why we end up in some of these relationships is because we kind of rush ourselves into it. But I think that love takes time because there is a period of proving that it is what it is, and I think that is only done through experience. As things happen in life, you begin to see the truth of who people are, and that can't be experienced overnight. That's not something that in a week you're gonna figure out what you would do. If my grandmother passed away and we needed someone, like, where are you going to be in that situation? You know what I mean? I think that there are situations that begin to show you what a person really is thinking or feeling when the need to sacrifice arises.
There are so many people in the Hidden Treasures community right now that are commenting and running with the sacrifice. I think the sacrifice point has really sort of hit home with a lot of people. If you're just now tuning in, our topic is when love hurts. And we've been taking it from a couple directions. We talked about the negative sins, but we started talking about what does God really say in 1 Corinthians 13 about love. If God is love, what does that mean? And one of the points that have been resonating throughout this latter half of the conversation is sacrifice. And people are talking about that what you do to sacrifice love, where there's no, someone says, where there's no sacrifice, there's no love.
Yeah, that's what we said earlier. Yeah.
Someone else said that. They were talking about Jesus Christ is the real blueprint right there of self-sacrifice, unconditional love, saying, look, I give all of me, regardless of how I feel, did not feel comfortable, pass this cup from me, but whatever your will, but let it be. So if my purpose is to love my children, my purpose is to love the people I minister to, if my purpose is to love the people I care for, because let's take it a couple ways. If in your career, in the area that you handle, if your purpose is to love the children you teach, if your purpose is to love the patients you care for, there's a certain way that you will sacrifice your own mood, your own attitude, your own issues that's going on, so that you can pour an energy of love into these children, into the building of their self-esteem, into your patients, to bring about health that comes from the simple, the love in what you do.
And you see that with everyone who's amazing at what they do.
Yes.
Right? Anybody who is your favorite teachers, your favorite your favorite pastor,
doctors,
right? Your favorite doctor, right? They all, like, it's the level of sacrifice, the level of care, the level of dedication, the level of commitment that they put into, right? That makes you understand that they love what they're doing and they're concerned genuinely about me. If we could translate that to our daily walk with people, to our daily relationships, right? That if I am not feeling any of that, if I feel like I am always given and nothing is ever reciprocated in any way. Now, we don't love in order to get back, but I should get back. You understand the difference? Like, I'm not necessarily loving so that you can do something, but it doesn't mean that I am never going to expect anything to happen. And so I think when we don't see that, something should start to register in you to say, like, am I in something? Am I involved in something that is never going to give back to me in a way that I'm given to it?
Because, when you really love, right, and we're talking about when love hurts, and if you think about when you really love, you're not thinking about what you're going to get out of it, because if you know that the person that you're with or the environment that you're in, let's even talk about the environments that you're in, because when a person really pours into whoever they're dealing with, their patients, their constituents, and that love is appreciated, they pour back. Yeah. You don't have to say, do an appreciation for me, because they're automatically going to show it. And a lot of times, and this is a scary thing, some of the thankless jobs are the ones that are most sacrificing. The teachers, the people that are sacrificing their life for you. And sometimes it's the most thankless job. Sometimes we don't hear from our students. Sometimes we never hear from our patients. And sometimes you do. But, that's why we need to, when you're in a relationship and I love this person completely and they love me completely, so much so that when I sacrifice, I don't have to think about how I sacrifice and the way I've been sacrificing, because they're automatically going to sacrifice in the same way, and I will be covered. I will be taken care of. I don't have to worry about, let me keep this in my pocket, because if I give it all to you, I'm not going to have anything. Because if I know if I give to you, well, you still going to give to me. I'm still going to be covered. It's reciprocity on a whole nother level. When you think about the way God loves us, we are covered. And so even when it hurts, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when he separates us from some things, even when God says, okay, I'm gonna take you down a different path, I'm gonna block your way right here, and we don't understand it, and it feels uncomfortable, we're like, I don't like this, I wanted to be with this person, you separated this, you got me out of this job and I wanted to be there, you took me out of this position and put me there, and I'm saying it that way, but God's love says, I got you. When you really understand God's love, you know that in the midst of this, God, you're still covering me. That's why the word tells us so many times to rest. Cast our cares upon him, rest. You know what I mean? Take his yoke because it's easy. It's rest. Because in all of it, it's love. It's love behind all of that. It's love that's still covering us. We don't have to worry how I'm gonna make ends meet. When he said the sparrows don't even have to think about how they eat. And so what more would his love do for us? That's when you don't have to worry, because you said, wait a minute, if I sure enough know that God, who is love, truly loves me, if I sure enough know that, then I know that I'm covered. So I don't really need to fret or worry. Although I feel uncomfortable where I am, I may not like where I am, but I know that God's love covers me.
So let me throw this question out, because I think you threw out something really important. You said that's when we get to the place of rest, right? Resting in God. So then would you say that rest is a byproduct of love?
Yes.
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 Look at, children are a prime example of it.
Thank you,
Children
Gary.
are a
He
prime
said Hidden
example.
Treasures rocks.
Yeah, Gary. No, but think about it. When a child is really loved,
Oh, that's so true.
they're at ease in their parents' arms. They know.
They'll
and-
do stupid things, but stuff that we think is stupid.
Right.
Like why would you just jump like that? You know?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But they are at ease in their
Yeah.
parents' arms. Even if they know my parent doesn't play, like they don't do that.
Yeah.
But they know I can rest here.
Yeah.
I'm at ease here. When let's go. I'm not even taking the animals
That's
because
good.
they show you even on TV all the animals that are shaking in their cages and stuff like that. I'm an
That's
animal
sad.
lover.
That's
Stop.
sad.
But the thing is, when an animal really knows that you love and care for them, because they're very instinctive, when they really know that, you can chastise them, you can tell them no, you can even, let's say you forgot to even feed them one day. It wasn't done maliciously. I mean, like, seriously, but when
Right,
they
right.
know you, they still come running up to you. They still, they're still up under you. They're still, children and animals are very instinctive because they'll show you right off. If you want to know if somebody that they're dealing with doesn't love them, seriously, see their fears, see how they react, see if they're at rest in that environment.
So true, and I think there are lessons from childhood that should carry into adulthood, right? Because if I am consistently on edge, if I'm consistently worried and fearful when I am in the presence of someone who is a loved one, I think there's something to be explored, something to be questioned about whether there are some issues there in this area of love. Like, if I'm not at peace with you, if I'm not at rest with you, then I cannot call it love at all. Because I don't feel safe when I'm with
right.
you. Yeah.
And that's a big,
Yeah.
because if you don't feel safe to disclose all of you, if you don't feel safe to share your secrets, if you don't feel safe to be your true self in that environment,
There's a problem.
then it's a problem.
Yeah.
And whether it's your work environment, if you feel like I got to put on pretense at all times, I got to be on edge, I can't let my guard
How
down.
long can you do that? Yeah.
You walk on eggshells, whether that's in a relationship, whether or not it is on a job, in a career, whatever. I can't be myself. This is where I need to be. Then you need to say, wait, I'm not at rest.
Yeah.
If I'm not at rest, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something is not right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think we need to look at that. If wherever we are, we're in constant state of frenzy, whether or not it's you and your child, you and your spouse, you and your job, you and your environment.
Yeah.
You're not at rest.
Yeah.
And there's a love that is missing, because the love of God and true love, because God is love, brings rest.
Brings rest.
It brings sacrifice, but it brings rest.
Absolutely. I think that's a good spot.
We got a couple more minutes. Angel, kind of typed something. Oh, you back, Candy? Look at you. Yes, that's so true. That's the greatest love of all. She's still quoting him.
Oh, Candy, if you all get off of the Quiet Storm. This ain't the Quiet Storm.
Anybody who's watching, we got some of our people in our community just making comments and some really fun stuff. Angel really summed this up kind of nicely. And Deborah, we see you. Hey, Deborah, is making some good comments. She says, this is good. She says, you're helping me realize the decision that must be made. It's hurtful. Unequal yoke that was a soul tie. God broke the tie.
Wow.
And that's
good.
That's huge.
That's huge, yeah.
And think about some things that we're tied to. We are connected to that thing, right? But we really need to think, am I at rest in this?
Yeah.
Is this where I need to be? Am I, where am I in all this? Deborah, that was a good. Anybody else who's reading the comments, please go back and read it, because that is really, really good. Angel says there's two ways to look at that topic. Look at tonight's topic, which is when love hurts. Because there's two types of pain.
Absolutely.
One where it's good, it's for your good. Another where it's not. She said, instead, as I said, it's chipping off at you. For instance, when we love God, but sometimes this walk with Christ, we love God, but sometimes this walk with Christ hurts. However, we know that he loves us back. So it's not one-sided. But then there's your relationships, where you're the only one really loving, giving, changing, etc. Think about your jobs. When there's some jobs that will just drain you and never pour back into you.
I'm out of there.
Right? But some people are not out.
Right, and that's the
Some
point.
people will
Yes.
hold on because they don't know when to let go.
Yeah.
And so they're being drained, they're looked over, they're not given a promotions, they're not being valued the way they need to. They're being drained and used and then discarded, or just consistently drained and used. That's not love.
It's not
because you're not at rest there. Oh my gosh, you guys are phenomenal
It was great. You guys
philosophers
were
and
great
just
today.
profound pundits on the topic of love. I love it. If anybody's just now tuning in, we've been talking about when love hurts. If you join us rather late, you can go back and read people's comments, or you can watch the show again. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we love you too. Definitely watch us, send us comments. You can always email us at hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com about topics you want us to discuss, about comments about anything that was said on the show. You agree or disagree, please feel free to do that as well. And remember, if you have something going on in the community that you want to announce, you know what to do. Email us, hiddentreasuresam@gmail.com. What's your final words in the last 10 seconds?
It's not
Candy.
me, it's Candy.
Candy!
She said, let's just kiss and say goodbye. And on that note, peace. Love y'all.